Hi gamers. Before we begin our weekly news, I advise you all to stay home, drink hot liquids, a lot of fresh water, wash your hands very frequently, and do not go out if you are sick. If you're feeling very sick, go to the hospital. I encourage you all to stay home safe to prevent the spread of COVID-19. If you do go out and you're an essential worker, do avoid larger crowds, please. And I would also love to send a high level of gratitude to the doctors, paramedics, and grocery store workers who are doing everything in their power to help people. Be strong, everyone, and we can end this disaster a lot sooner. Hey gamers, this is John of Video Games and the World. Welcome to our fourth weekly news. Despite this global pandemic, we are still going strong, and that is all that matters. Had enough time to do some gaming, catch up on the Arrowverse, The 100, catch up on Netflix shows, and even having the time to watch The Mandalorian. Soon I'll review the show, even though I know it's a bit too late to do so. So, here's the news of the week, gamers. The hit fighting game Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is getting its first major DLC, and that, my friends, is the God of Destruction, Beerus, his teacher and attendant, Whis, and Goku's Super Saiyan God form. The Super Saiyan God form I am talking about is the one you saw in the movie Battle of Gods, and also in the Beerus saga of Dragon Ball Super. The red-haired one, not the blue-haired Super Saiyan God. I think the red-haired one is a lot cooler than the blue-haired one. So, players will be able to access this form by training against Whis and eventually facing off against Beerus in one of the game's boss battle episodes. Bandai says this new content will be accessible anytime during the player's game experience, and Goku will be able to transform into a Super Saiyan God mode anytime during the main storyline. This DLC will be accessible through the Season Pass, or you can buy it when the second DLC, appropriately titled A New Power Awakens Part 2, when that releases later this year. If you bought the Ultimate Edition of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, you'll also get a new music pack that includes a bunch of recognizable Dragon Ball series songs. Hopefully are those from Shunsuke Kikuchi, and I hope in a way that we got some Bruce Falconer. Yeah! Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is a very popular fighting game, and it managed to top the sales chart during January this year, becoming even more popular than fighting games like Fighters and Budokai. I still have Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on the PS2, of course, and I played lots of Dragon Ball Z games over the years, like the Super Butoden Trilogy on emulator, Hyper Dimension, Legend of the Super Saiyan, Kakusei-Hen, Legacy of Goku Trilogy, Attack of the Saiyans, and so on. I have loved the Dragon Ball series since childhood, watching Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT. Super was phenomenal, especially when we saw Black Goku. That was just beautiful. I also remember watching movies such as The Dead Zone, The World's Strongest, The Tree of Might, Lord Slug, Cooler's Revenge, Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, and so on. Now, the worst thing to ever happen in the Dragon Ball franchise was that piece of crap live-action movie, Dragon Ball Evolution. Ay, Dios mío, qué película tan disparatosa! What a crappy movie! I love to pretend that piece of crap movie never existed. Qué película tan disparatosa. Un clavo. What I mean to say is that it's a crappy movie, and it sucks. Big time. Also, our next news is this. Should we have a Skyward Sword remaster for the Switch? Oh, I believe so. Absolutely. And I still have it on my Nintendo Wii, and I play it from time to time. Legend of Zelda for years had many fantastic games. Some of them were meh, but they were mostly fantastic. My personal favorites are A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, The Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess. Oh, and don't talk to me about those CDI games. I don't want to hear your reward from them. Speaking of remasters, we've seen remastered versions of The Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, but Skyward Sword never received an HD remaster. Hopefully it does, in my honest opinion, because I thought it was a fantastic game that took place before Ocarina of Time. What I also loved about the story was the origin of the Master Sword. Now, players were turned off by how linear the game was and the heavy reliance of the controls of Skyward Sword, despite being very well received by critics. Should this remaster on the Switch ever happen, players might feel a bit more comfortable with the controls than in the Wii. To me, the graphics and visuals of that game were something that made your eyes pop with excitement. However, improvisation of graphics on a hopeful Switch remaster could be a bit difficult to implement. Standard controls could be offered in order to open up the game to new players, especially players with disabilities. Well, hopefully there can be a remastered version of this game for the Nintendo Switch. Even though the Wii started out strong and did not end so well, it had many great games such as Super Mario Galaxy, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, No More Heroes, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, and so on. In other news, the Resident Evil 3 remake is just days away, and if you played the demo, then you know that the knife in this game is indestructible. This is something that the Resident Evil 2 remake video game was lacking. Why? Because as you all know, the blades were limited, and once you've used them so much for self-defense or dismembering the legs of zombies, it broke. Talking to Game Informer producer Peter Fabiano said, "We're dealing with survival horror and everything is exhaustible. You ran out of bullets, you ran out of herbs, you run out of all the items you can use. So if you did run out of everything, what will you have? The knife." The director always wanted to make it so that you at least have your trusty knife. That's always something you can rely on. Even though I wasn't such a big fan of the knife in previous titles, at least there were times it was useful in certain situations, like cutting spiderwebs in Resident Evil 1 Remake for the GameCube, PS3, PS4, etc. But I like the idea that it's indestructible. As said, the game is just days away, but due to COVID-19, physical games will be delayed. Next news, the Harry Potter RPG. On October 2018, there was a leaked footage that hit the internet, but was removed through copyright strikes by Warner Brothers. And that leak hinted the possibility of a Harry Potter RPG video game. The Harry Potter series has been popular in the books for many years, and it's unbelievable how that next year, 2021, it will be 20 years since the first movie was released, which starred Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, Tom Felton, Alan Rickman, and Maggie Smith. I loved all the movies and the books too. In this RPG, players can fully experience the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry by getting sorted into a house such as Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff. You can also take fantastic classes, visit iconic Hogwarts landmarks, and for this you can fully live the experience of the world of Harry Potter. The game is shown to have character creation, a story that expands the franchise's lore, also remaining as faithful to it, and it also introduces a morality system. It also has a versatile magic system as well. The story is said to be taken in the 19th century, so it takes place like a century before Fantastic Beasts and Harry Potter. The game is in development, but the platforms are yet unknown. And now for the Star Wars news. Remember the first movie of the Star Wars prequels back in 1999? The movie spawned games for the PS1, N64, Game Boy, and the PC. But this time, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer is coming to the Nintendo Switch and the PS4! I still remember playing this game so many years ago. I was only 13 years old, and that was, ladies and gentlemen, before the Disney era. Although not too many people loved it, at least to me it was a fun game to play. Racing not only in the Bunta course in Tatooine, but also in different planets such as Malastare. On that time before the Disney Star Wars era, memories. Features include 25 playable racers including Anakin Skywalker, Sebulba, and Rats Tyrell. Racetracks spanning 8 unique worlds including Tatooine, Barunda, and Malastare. Work with pit droids to upgrade your pod racer for higher top speeds and acceleration. Discover shortcuts and secrets to master your lap times. Split-screen multiplayer, and LAN multiplayer as well. Now, Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace was the first of the prequel trilogy. Although I didn't like it, its redeeming qualities are the famous pod racing scene and also the fight between Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi against the famous Darth Maul. What was really bothersome is that some people attacked Jake Lloyd's portrayal of Anakin Skywalker many years before the Kelly Marie Tran incident with The Last Jedi. Now, I am sorry that Jake and Kelly had to go through such things. I hope all turned out for the best for them. Other Star Wars news include that Michael Biehn will portray a character in the second season of The Mandalorian. We all loved him as Kyle Reese in The Terminator, and he shall be a great addition to the TV show with actors such as Carl Weathers, Nick Nolte, and also Rosario Dawson. I spoke about her last week, where she is playing the one and only Ahsoka Tano. Woo! Next news. Why Final Fantasy VII Remake is episodic? Well, 5 years ago we saw the teaser trailer of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and of course everyone was so hyped. But people became disappointed that the game was episodic, and now we have the answer of why. According to an interview, Yoshinori Kitase said the following: in order to make the entire game as a single release work as a modern game, we wouldn't be able to go for the highest visual quality, and we'd also have to cut back on areas and scenes from the original, he said. Essentially, to make a single release viable, the resulting game would have ended up being a digest of the original story, and we didn't think that fans would be pleased with that. The first release in the Remake project, which launches in April, contains the Midgar portion of the original game. By Kitasa's statements, it should feature everything from the original rendered in new technology, plus some new zones to explore. There were a lot of parts in between sections of Midgard that were implied but never seen, said Kitase. That was something that we wanted to address with Remake to fill in all of these gaps, show how the different parts of the city are connected, and make it a continuous experience. Well, I guess by the time the next episodes are released, we already have a PS5. Now, we all remember on the PS1 that the game was split into 3 discs because the game was so long. Making it episodic is due to space on the disc, I also believe. And now I understand why they make it episodic. It's better that way in this day and age, in a way. Kind of like when Final Fantasy VII was originally headed for the N64, but due to the limited capacity of the cartridge, the game went onto the PlayStation. And now, this is a final news that you could just weep and enjoy. Game developers bringing hope and happiness in these trying times. In these trying times, game developers make sure to bring people hope and happiness through the stories that they tell with their games. And that is exactly what we should all be doing. Giving and receiving love, happiness, and hope. Not dividing each other over differing views, be they political, ideological, or religious. The news that brought me so much joy that I wept. Now, I hate crying, but sometimes you gotta let it out and not suppress it. The new Switch game and Animal Crossing New Horizons has social features, and it's very much loved like its predecessors. We already saw a surprise in-game wedding earlier this week, and now we've got a birthday party on our hands. A couple of days ago, friends of PlayStation London producer Alexia Christofi got together and put together a birthday bash for her 9-year-old daughter Sophia. Wow. Because of these times, you can't make a birthday party with your friends in your house because of what's going on. But that was so sweet what they did for that 9-year-old girl. So to little Sophia, I say, happy birthday, and I hope that next year you have a nice birthday party with all of your friends. Another story of hope that lifts the spirits of so many people that are suffering due to COVID-19. The developers of the much anticipated game of 2020, Cyberpunk 2077, have donated $950,000 to help fight the coronavirus. The company CD Projekt Red said the following: "We are all following events related to the coronavirus epidemic. The number of cases is increasing and the health service is facing more and more challenges. In these hard times, every help counts. So, over the last few days, we have been wondering how we could contribute. We are not familiar with buying medical equipment, masks, or overalls, which is why we decided to cooperate with professionals with many years of experience. To date, we donated PLN $4 million to fight the coronavirus. Half of this amount as CD Projekt SA and the other half privately. The private part was financed by the main shareholders and the management board of CD Projekt. We would also like to thank the entire medical service involved in the fight against the virus. Risking your own health, you fight for hours every day. Your hard work is our inspiration." We also have an appeal to everyone who reads this message. Take seriously what is happening around us. Listen to the recommendations of those who know about public health. Wow. This is just amazing what they did on their part. This is why CD Projekt Red is a great game developing company, and I am more than willing to buy and play the shit out of this game. Part of my language. Hopefully this pandemic will get under control soon. Researchers and doctors are working around the clock to ensure that they can save as many lives as possible. Until then, stay at home and avoid going out until it's absolutely necessary. As a gamer, I say this. Game developers who do something so noble have my absolute respect and admiration. And I know that all of us, we can fight against this virus. The COVID-19 issue is not a political, religious, or ideological issue. It's a human issue that affects all of us. White, black, Latino, Asian, young, old, male, female, straight, gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and queer. And finally, in conclusion, I dedicate this weekly news to the families of two great people we lost this week. To the memory of Albert Uderzo, creator of the Asterix comics book series. And to the memory of Hiroshi Masuoka, known for the voice of Anpanman and Master Roshi. May they rest in peace. Now, I know you don't see my tears or might get to see them, but, you know, those game developers, they did something so noble, and for that little girl, it's just so touching. Like, I cried playing video games when playing games like Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy VII. I cried in Metal Gear Solid 4, Life is Strange, Heavy Rain, Metal Gear, and Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy 15. Jesus Christ. Despite the trying times we're going through right now, it's a good thing we have some good news that can lift the spirits. I am John, host of Video Games and the World. Stay home, stay safe, and COVID-19, screw you.